Well, today, welcome to another episode of Colli Talks Transformative Conversations. I have not just the honor, but the pleasure of being with my guest today. I have known Robbie since 1997, and I'm going to read his bio that was written by where he is now in Dallas, Texas at Vaquero. Couldn't have written it better. So please bear with me, but this needs to be heard. Robbie Ames is the creative and highly involved point person for all aspects of club operations at Sea Pines Country Club and has a proven record of leading and developing team members. For the last 7 years, he has served as the general manager, CEO at Sea Pines Country Club and has led a transformation at the club with 14 million in new projects and refurbished amenities completed. Experienced at delivering great personalized service to the membership and their guests, and passionate about creating exceptional and memorable golf and club experiences, we would like and look forward to Robbie joining Vaquero team on March 4th. And he has. So before Sea Pines Country Club, Robbie was the right hand to Bob Jones, who was the GM, COO at Desert Mountain Club in Scottsdale, Arizona. Bob mentored Robbie and introduced him to the club side of the business. Robbie also spent a year as the assistant director of golf at DM, overseeing and responsible for 54 holes of golf. He started in the club business in 2008 as director of golf at Cinnamon Hill Golf Course in Rose Hall, Jamaica. Born in Trinidad, where this interview is being actually taking place, and that's what I had mentioned, there would be a very special guest when I got to Trinidad, and this is he. The southernmost island in the Caribbean, Robbie attended college at Louisiana State College or University and finished his bachelor's degree in business economics at Florida A&M University. After college, he played professional golf on mini tours in the U.S., Canada, and South America. He represented Trinidad and Tobago on 4 different occasions at the World Cup of Golf, playing with his older brother, Stephen, multiple PGA Tour and Champions Tour winner. Robbie spent 3.5 years caddying for Stephen, where together they had an amazing run, where Stephen's world ranking climbed to number 17 in the world. Their biggest achievement together was their win at the 206 Players Championship. Robbie is a certified club manager, CCM, with the Club Management Association of America, and is also a Class A PGA professional with the PGA of America. Robbie is married to Catherine Marley, who is from Jamaica, and they have 2 beautiful daughters, Ashley, 19, and Abigail, 16. Well, what can I say? Welcome, Robbie.
Well, thank you, Colli. I appreciate that very much. It's nice to be here with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And as I said, it's truly an honor. And just, I'm so grateful that you would take the time to spend the time to speak with me and for me to be able to share with my audience you. Like I say, I'm just truly honored. So thank you so much. And to get started, I would love to know what motivated you in the very beginning to start on this journey that you're on.
Well, this journey has been a very rewarding one that started back in, if you will, 2008. That's where, if you will, the first step that I made to have a career, if you will, began. I had another dream of a different career path that I thought I would take, which was to play professional golf. And that didn't quite work out. I tried on numerous occasions. I stopped and I worked a little bit here in Trinidad and then went back to playing professional golf. And then I stopped again and I caddied for my brother for 3.5 years, like the bio said.
Right.
And then went back one more time in 2007 and just did not work out the way I had dreamed. And so it was not my calling. It was not for me, not my path. And so in 2008, I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to go back to Jamaica, even though I'd spent that time there before.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, we had Ashley, who was about 3.5 years old, if you will, and Abigail was just 9 months old. And the family moved to Jamaica, and we spent 5.5 years there. And that's where this career, if you will, started. Not sure if it would have panned out, worked out, or just wasn't sure. And here we are now, almost 16 years later, and the path continues and the journey continues. And it's been very, very rewarding.
So when you say your dream didn't pan out, what was that?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, my brother plays professional golf, and I wanted to do that as well. And it was what a beautiful thing for two brothers, to be able to maybe play together, which we did at the World Cup, but to maybe play PGA Tour events, etc. But as I like to tell people, he plays for a living now, and I work for a living. We're both golf professionals,
Right.
but he certainly is the one people would recognize on TV.
Right.
Back in my days of caddying, I used to tell people you recognize me from the knees down, because I was a guy you saw in the background carrying the golf bag. But
Right.
that was rewarding in its own. But I had a dream, yes, absolutely, to play professionally. And like I said, I tried on several different occasions and didn't work out. And so I put that dream into a box, and I gave it its due and blessing, and then I let it be free.
Right.
And so it's then a new dream came about, and here we are today.
So when you say you put the dream in a box, right? What was it that inspired you to go in this direction? Because that dream in a box, right? There had to have been a transformative moment that you went, okay, not this, but that.
Right. So I remember back in, I think, probably around this month, July 2007, and I went to try to qualify for a second rate tour, or they call it the buy.com now, or the Corn Ferry Tour, which is the second level tour, if you will, to the PGA Tour. And so I was trying to Monday qualify to get into this one event, and played what I thought was exceptional golf, shot 66. And I went, I left one shot out there, and gosh, 65 gets in, I'm just going to kind of kick myself. Well, 65 didn't get in. In truth, in fact, what happened is that there were 150 guys playing for 7 spots. One guy shoots 62, 2 guys shoot 63, and the remaining spots that were open were in a playoff for 6 who shot 64 were in a playoff for the remaining spots. So right there, it hit me was that, gosh, I've put up some of my best, and it wasn't even good enough to get into the tournament that we were trying to get into. So that was the defining moment. We had just had Abigail, our second daughter, a few months before that. And I realized, you know what? There's no way I'm going to be able to support my girls through this trial and effort of trying to fulfill my dream of playing on the PGA Tour. And so like I said, I stopped right there, and then immediately started to, if you will, figure out how could I earn a living. And, golf was very natural for me.
Right.
My college degree was a great asset to have. I knew I wanted to stay in the golf industry because it's what I do. It's who I am. I've been playing this wonderful game for 48 years. I'm now 52. I started at age 4, and it's just second nature to me. And luckily, I got a break with a job opportunity in Jamaica, which is a story in itself. But getting to go back home to where my wife was born and raised was fantastic. And raising our girls there for 5.5 years was, oh gosh, that was better than any, if you will, vision, if you will, that I ever could dream up.
Right.
So that's how it all began.
Okay. So take me, take our the audience back to, like you said, started at the age of 4.
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
Well, we're home here in Trinidad as we do this interview. And so on the other side of the island, about an hour away, my first 9 years, we grew up.
Are you still with me? at the age of 4. This is interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah, so we're here in Trinidad, and we grew up about an hour away in a place called Point of Pierre, and it was where they had the Texaco oil refinery that my dad was the chief engineer at.
Okay.
And he worked there, and I spent my first 9 years growing up there. And lo and behold, there was an 18-hole golf course, and it was just beautiful. And my brother, who got into the game and loved it, he dragged me along, if you will, and that he taught me everything that I knew at the game. And it was just a beautiful place to grow up, and that's how we both got hooked on golf. And literally, the fifth hole was no more than a 2-minute walk with our golf bag on our back, or for those who need a distance, I don't know, 300 yards, and the golf course was right there. And the camp was really well laid out for all of the expats that worked in the oil refinery from the States. And
Right.
yeah, as I look back on it now, it was almost like a private club, which is what I'm involved in today, because it had 18 holes of golf, tennis courts, badminton court, squash, a pool. It had a yacht club. They had sailing that they offered. It was just amazing, and an amazing time to grow up, and an amazing place to grow up in. And so if you were to quote unquote fast forward the story for the last, I don't know, let's see, 7 to 10, 15 years, I've been in that sort of hospitality private club business. And I just made the connection, but that's really where it all started so many, many years ago.
Absolutely. And I was just going to say, it's really interesting because in my work with regards to the subconscious, and those are very, formative years that you were being exposed to that environment, the visual, and it's like having a huge vision board at the age of 4 up, right? And so to me, it's absolutely a perfect match for your subconscious to have created, and for you to feel safe, and for you to, be able to blossom where you're planted in that environment.
Yeah, and so even though I played golf,
Right.
and if you will, I was a customer, a user, or somebody like, if you will, to find the term, I now, what we refer to it as, I now work on the other side of the counter, taking care of the members. I'm taking care of members' families. I'm taking care of their escape, because that's really what a private club is for a lot of folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Work hard, play hard, and it's a way of rewarding themselves, and it's exclusive, and it's for a certain number of people who belong as members. And it's what I've been doing now for the last 15 plus years.
And what a journey it has been, because look at the places you've, been and developed more and more personally, professionally, but also developed more and more for the places that you've been, working in, right? And so Jamaica, talk about that a little bit, because that really fascinates me and will our audience as well. So what goes on in a golf course in Jamaica that you were, in working at?
Yeah, so I would say most, if not all, Caribbean islands, if you will, lack specialized talent.
Okay.
And what happens is that they usually, if you will, provide a work visa for people to come in that have the know-how, because golf is a sport that's not very well known, if you will, in the Caribbean.
Right.
Very few people play it. They may call it an elitist sport because, it tends to cost a lot of money. So it's not widely experienced by many, such as football or cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's easier, if you will, to for people to learn. And so this opportunity was there, and I didn't know anything. All I could do is say, hey, I've got a business background that I do believe that will help when it comes to things like retail sales for clothing or food and beverage. But I know golf, and I could give a golf lesson, and I know enough about grass, and I could use. And if you're willing to take a risk on me, I'll be more than happy to do this. And it was just such a win-win partnership that the 5.5 years just went, by so quickly. And we had an amazing golf course. It was Cinnamon Hill. It was right on the north coast of Jamaica. There were two other golf courses within a 2-mile radius. So you would have visitors come down from, your home country, Canada, when it was freezing in February, or from the States, and they would stay in a great hotel, and it was right on the beach, and they had access to 54 holes of golf. And I just happened to run one of those courses and just grew strength to strength. But it was a resort golf course that primarily catered to, if you will, tourists who were coming to visit, or people on a cruise ship, or even local golfers. We had a local membership there that was just, a nominal price,
Right.
just so that they belonged and they could use it after work or whatever the case may be. So that's what Jamaica golf looked like for 5.5.
Wow. So what was the motivating factor for you to then make your next move?
Yeah. So,
What shifted?
well, it's amazing because we could have easily have stayed, and I
Right.
was going to have the opportunity to not oversee one, but oversee two golf courses, because
Wow.
the company that I worked with, they owned the second one, and they were getting ready to, if you will, take it back from the hotel that was managing it before. It used to be a Ritz-Carlton property.
Okay.
So the Ritz-Carlton was changing their flag. The hotel was sold. New buyers didn't want anything to do with the golf course, but they were more than happy to send their hotel guests there. So the ownership group was going to take it back, and I would have had the opportunity to oversee 36 holes. However, the search had started a couple of months prior to that happening, only because our eldest daughter, Ashley, was now 10,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew we were going to run into an education problem in the state here in Jamaica. So
Okay.
primary school is really great. The formidable years, if you will, kindergarten, etc., all down to the lower primary ages are fantastic. But if we wanted her to have a quality education, we would either have to send her to Kingston, which is 4 hours away, or homeschool, or, private school. And we felt that it was time. And for us, we had lived in the US before, and 5.5 years was wonderful. But, the writing, the writing was there. So we did it mainly for education. And luckily, the next opportunity that I had was a wonderful step up in my career, and gave me the opportunity to pursue career while taking care of family. Or maybe I should say, to pursue family's needs first and foremost. And then, by the way, career also
Mm-hmm.
got an uptick.
Well, that would have a lot to do with your value system and what you value, right? And as much as I do know you, I know that you are very respectful of your entire family and very strong family values. So definitely I can see how that all transpired. And then you moved where after Cinnamon Hill?
Yeah, so we moved from the ocean to the desert, is what I like to tell people. So
Oh,
we moved to
extremes.
Arizona. Yeah, extreme, exactly.
Extremes.
And so for anybody who has experienced the Caribbean, Colli, like you are this week, the humidity is out of control,
Right.
but your skin has never felt so good, because
Exactly.
it's so, if you will, waterlogged from all of the humidity and all the water we drink.
Right.
My skin feels great when I'm home in any Caribbean island. Go to the desert where there's no humidity and you're semi in the arid conditions, and oh my, is it a dry climate? So yes, the family picks up and moves, and we spent 3.5 years there. And if you thought Jamaica was good, well, this was even better for me
Mm-hmm.
personally, career wise. But there was an adjustment factor with the girls,
Oh,
and
okay.
I've got two young children looking at me and going, I don't understand why we ever left Jamaica.
Oh,
Why did we have
really?
to leave? Yeah, yes,
Oh.
because it was it was paradise, but you couldn't tell somebody, a 9-year-old daughter of yours, that hey, your education system would not have been good,
Mm-hmm.
just we're doing this for you. And so, there was definitely resentment, if you
Right.
will, making the move. And why did we leave our friends, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you fast forward that 3.5 years later, and then we moved to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and you've got a 13-year-old daughter who's turned to you and go, well, why are we moving again? I, I,
Exactly.
I don't get it, right? So, but there were other circumstances. So yes, the move from Jamaica to Arizona was fabulous. We worked at a great club called Desert Mountain Club, and they had 6 golf courses. They had almost 2,000 memberships. truckload of homes, if you will, because there were so many I can't even remember.
Hmm.
And people just loved it. And so some lived there year round, and some were just, if you will, snowbirds that came in when the weather was not great at their primary home. And they
Like
spent
Canada.
in, like Canada, right?
Yeah.
And we had some Canadian members that would come down from Calgary and Vancouver, and they would spend, oh, what's the famous number? 183 days, if you will, according to
Right.
the US government, that you can spend.
Right.
So they would count their days while they were there, and they enjoyed every minute of it. And so, yes, but that opportunity at Desert Mountain is where we had another, if you will, change that I was so blessed to have,
Oh,
because
tell
there I
me more.
was. Well, yeah, so I got there because I was in the golf business,
Right.
and assistant director of golf was my title, and I oversaw 54 holes of golf. But, you know, the general manager, chief operating officer, Bob Jones, who's my mentor, was so very gracious to say, hey, I need some help, and your peers have identified you, and I'd like to have a conversation with you to see if maybe you can be a fit for my needs. And, after that conversation, and he had several other internal and external conversations. I call them conversations, I don't call them interviews.
Right.
And he decided, okay, let's do this thing together. Let me set a career path for you, which was huge. And it was a roadmap that clearly laid out, okay, this is how you're going to become a general manager of a private club. And these are the
Wow.
steps you're going to have to take. And these are the sacrifices you're going to have to do. So he and I spent 2.5 years together. And, he taught me everything that there was to be known about the club business, especially on the admin side, and how
Hmm.
to deal with boards and the politics that come with that, and being able to understand the financials of the club that you're running. But there are so many other components, right?
Right.
Yes, Robbie, golf, but do you truly understand, agronomy, which is the growing of grass, if you will? And do you understand that component? And what about food and beverage? Hey, I understand the little hole in the wall that you had where you offered a hot dog, but I'm talking about restaurants. I'm talking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm
Right.
talking about I'm talking about 500 team members. So he really took me under his wing, and when he didn't have the time, he put me with his leadership team, and they taught me, and just most amazing time that I had, and sacrifices that we made. And as the years go on, I can, relate to those sacrifices, but gosh, so worth it to where we sit today.
Incredible. And Bob was like, I mean, a tremendous, obviously, leader, teacher, mentor, and friend.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and still is, right?
Yeah, and he lives about 45 minutes away from me in Texas. And
Oh,
actually, he is the one who recruited me for this job, because he's now a headhunter where he's looking for general managers or golf professionals, agronomists, directors of agronomy, etc. Superintendents is the word I'm looking for,
right.
all over, because clubs are looking for great people to be part of their private club to make it, whatever their vision is to make it.
Right.
And so this opportunity came up in Dallas,
Hmm.
and he says, I really need you to take a look at it. And I go, well, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. I said,
Yeah.
but, I'm not sure I've got any inclination to come to Dallas. Just not my cup of tea. Like I said earlier, I'm a water guy. I'm an island guy. I'm an ocean guy. And so you're taking me in the heart of the middle of nowhere. And he goes, well, yes, but he says, for your career, I think this is an absolutely amazing move that you can make. And, he had.
We're going to have to start it. So he had. Robbie? Oh, you were mentioning so he had. Bob was talking to you, and he had a great interest in you moving forward in your career.
Yeah, and so sorry about that. I lost my train of thought, right? I had a big smile on my face, but
That's
he,
okay.
so and I can't remember where we left off, but so, he really had this opportunity, and it was great. And he called me not once, twice, but 3 times, and says, look, I really need you to tell me if you're interested, because I've talked to the board about you. and they're interested in you as a candidate.
Right.
And, can you talk to Kathy? And would Kathy even look at the opportunity? We always thought our next step after Hilton Head would have been to Florida because it was around water, but that didn't quite, I don't know, call it God's intervention, call it whatever you believe in, right?
Right.
I believe, as you have taught me, here's a famous Colli line, there are no coincidences in life. And so this happens, materializes, and we moved to Texas, but Bob has always been a part of it. And he's the one who actually helped me to get ready for my first general manager position
Okay.
after our time together at Desert Mountain. And we left Desert Mountain, we went to Hilton Head Island. So that's
Right.
that's really where the story
And
kind of left off.
yeah, what was that like? I mean, you know, most people would think, wow, this is like grandiosity here with the beauty and the aesthetics and the club and
Yeah, so it's this is where we like to say you had to put on your big boy pants because now you're the guy at the top of the food chain,
right.
and you're at the pyramid. And so for those listening, I would say to you, sometimes your fate is not in your own hands when you work at a private club. Reason being is that the average tenure of a general manager hovers between that 3 to 3.5 year span. And the reason for that is because you've got new board members who come on and, they may not like you, or they may have their own personal agenda, or they may have a different view of the way the club should operate.
Right.
And because you're at the top of the food chain, you're the easiest one to change. But nonetheless, it was a big step for us to move from Arizona to Hilton Head as my first general manager position. And a good move for the girls. We believe the timing was about right. Ashley was at this point of 70. So she was 13 years old. Abby was 10 years old. And I made the commitment because within the first couple of months, I got the, why did you move us again? And I said,
Mhm.
okay, if I can have it my way, I will see and I will commit to you all that I will not move again career-wise until both of you have finished high school. Well,
Okay.
I got really close because
You did.
Ashley finished high school. She finished high school and she's finished her first year of college. Unfortunately for number two, which is Abigail, our second daughter, Abigail is now getting ready to start her senior year of high school. And understanding that I've been at Vaquero since March, it didn't quite materialize. But luckily, if you will, she can bounce is the Caribbean term I like to use, or
Mhm.
she's adaptable, and she's going to adapt, and she's going to excel. And it's a great opportunity for her education wise to
Right.
go into a fantastic environment where she can learn really great things. She was at a high school in Hilton Head, and it was good, but certainly not great. We're excited to say that where she's going to be going to attend her final year of high school, Westlake Academy, it's going to be great. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
we
it's a
think it's going to
phenomenal.
be, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you don't get into that without having excellence in all areas of your life.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it had the same curriculum, the IBDP program, International Baccalaureate Diploma program. It's a 2 year program that Abby was enrolled in, which was, if you will, accelerated for Hilton Head High School.
Mhm.
And we found this school that's close to the club where I work at and close to our new home that we've just settled into. And she hasn't even seen the home as yet, as I talk to you about this.
Yeah,
But she,
exactly.
she'll she'll be there in a couple of days, and then she'll start school in 2 weeks. But so the commitment, if you will, didn't quite materialize. But 7 years in Hilton Head really helped us to stay grounded, stay focused. I really held up my end of the bargain up to a certain point, and the girls really grew up there because I, big exhale. I saw the emotional toll that
Mhm.
it took on the girls moving,
Mhm.
and so I tried to do that. And but this one, if you will, this opportunity, this career move was certainly just too good to
Mhm.
pass up.
Yeah.
And so, and here we are now, even though
And
in Trinidad, we'll be in Texas in 2 days to start.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, it's like I say, I have been in Robbie's life since 1997. Robbie's been in my life, and it's been a phenomenal. I just, tear up thinking of how how amazing you have done, what you have sacrificed, and your family. And people go, oh well, yeah, but look where he is now. Yes, but right? There's a lot of buts in there in terms of, and so, for people who are listening, because I have an audience that ranges in age, and I also have young people that are aspiring and want to be inspired and need leaders and mentors and what what could you tell them? Take yourself back here. If you could talk to and I'm not saying your 4-year-old self, but,
Mm.
take yourself back to 16, 17, just about to step into whatever. And what can you, because people are looking for this. The world needs this so much so right now. They need to know that there are people out there who have achieved things, but that they have a very solid foundation from the sacrifices and from the work and from the education and mentors and leaders. And so they need that. So what could you tell them?
Well, sorry, I had to take a deep breath in and have a cough because you're asking me to talk to other younger people. I think, Colli, is that it is, who do you want to be,
Right.
and what do you want, right? So I think is a weak word. I believe, right, is so much better. I believe and I know
Hmm.
that I didn't want to be growing up or living, if you will, in Trinidad.
Right.
So there was a need to get out of the island. So for those who don't know, yes, it's at the bottom of the Caribbean, but there are 1.4 million people that live here. They're golf courses, but the way of life, while great, and there's a great song, called Trini to the Bone, and Trinis are Trinis, and if you aspire to get out and be more, you have that opportunity.
Right.
And people go on to be, great doctors and lawyers, etc. So no matter where you grow up, no matter what your background, no matter what your circumstances, if you want to be more and if you want to do more, it really is up to you. Now, my parents were a huge, supporter, if you will. They're the ones taking you to the golf tournaments. My mom was, that, my dad was there, providing, shelter, and you can talk about it in another program,
Hmm.
the four key elements, if you will, of safety and security and nourishment and money and to be able for us to grow, right? So he
Right.
did his part, and mom was the dad and the mother, right, taking you to golf tournaments and stuff. But there were always cheerleaders, right? They provided you the opportunity and the resources to like I did, go to school at university at age 18. Okay, so I got a golf scholarship and that helped to pay for some of the expenses. But yes, it's all possible. But
Right.
if for those who don't have the support system,
Hmm.
and I'm talking to people who are older or who are going to become parents, you've got to provide that to your children to know that, no matter what they love, no matter what they are enough. But I think I believe is the better word. I believe everybody wants to be better than their parents, if you will. They want to achieve more. They want to be more. They don't want to be like them for some folks. But what I would tell them is that anything is possible. And I know that sounds very cliche-ish, but it's true. So when you look at yourself in a mirror, don't view all of the obstacles,
Right.
but chart chart out a vision for yourself as to who you want to be and where you want to be, and then go find people to help you. And if I'm
Exactly.
one of those persons that can help, or in your case, if you're that person where they reach out to help, then you find mentors and you find confidants of people who can help you to get to the next step. And
Hmm.
it's your network of people that get you there, right? The famous saying, it takes a village. So
Right. And it does. I mean, I I know, like, I have known you and I've known your family. I'm blessed to, be in company of your family right now in terms of in Trinidad. And I know what your mom and dad, I don't know exactly, but I do know that they have invested a lot in terms of, time, energy, finances, etc. for both, for all of you children. And I know that that's what you and Kathy are doing for your children, right? And what seemingly might the children going through those moves and those transitions might be like it's really challenging and then, oh my God, here we go again and all that. But just, in terms of what you've done, paying it forward to and for your children. And now they too have that as a template role model. Have they choose and do they choose to, one day have children of their own? And so this to me is in talking to you is so important because you are a dad and you have a lovely wife and you have children. And so what advice can you give to maybe the parents? I know you sort of skimmed on it a little bit here, but what advice can you give to parents that are listening to this? Because there will be.
Yeah, so the advice is that, at some point in time, you have to put your career on hold, right? Because it's not about you. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's very non-ego like. And that's something you and I have had discussions about, right? And you
Right.
gotta, sometimes it's okay just to maintain. But the number one thing I would tell you that I wish I came across, and this is a testimonial to you, is that you need somebody to inspire belief in you, and you need a coach, a partner, a whatever you want to call it. I call you my life coach as well as a dear friend,
Mm-hmm.
but you have guided me over the years. And so the role of the parents is that you've got to some way, somehow make the sacrifices to provide the opportunities.
Right.
And it's not about the biggest house, car, or TV. It's the having the ability to make sure that you provide an opportunity for your kids to experience all sports, to see the world, to provide them an education system, to give them the grounding and the love and the support to do so.
Right.
And if you can't, then definitely find somebody who can do that for them to believe, because it's amazing the strength of internal confidence and belief of what somebody can achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many children out there who just don't hear that. And I guess it
Exactly.
starts in three simple words of "I love you," right?
Right.
And there are those out there that have not heard that, and it's that's the role of the parent in order to make their child feel loved and protected and secured, and also know that they can do anything. And so when they do fall down on the bicycle, it's brush it off and get right back up on it. We're not going to cry or dwell about it. You got to get back on and you got to keep going. So parents, that's what I would say. And like I said, it's okay if you don't know how to do that, but then I would say you reach out to people like Colli and you say, okay, how do I break through? Because growing.
As growing. That as growing. So start there. We're back.
Yeah, indeed. A little break in wireless communication, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
sorry about that, Robbie.
No, that's okay. So yeah, as you know, growing up, some people just don't hear that you can do it, that I love you, I'm here for you, right? And to me that's so important, because that's the role of the parent. It is that absolute sacrifice of putting children first. And so look, you signed up for it, parents, right? You
Mm-hmm.
decided to have children, right? That this is not a 5-minute decision gone bad, right? This is a conscious decision to bring somebody into the world, and you've got to support, and you've got to be able to make sacrifices. And I think I said it earlier, and if I haven't, it's look, if you don't know how to do it, that's okay, because you may not have grown up in a house that's got a whole a lot of love and security and support and inspiration. So that's why I turn to people like you, because you have the ability to teach that. I don't. You've taught me, in addition to my mom and dad, and my mom's fantastic. Oh my God, greatest woman on earth, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And has taught me so much, but being able to take it deeper and steps further would be where you've been a amazing partner and life coach. So yeah,
Well,
that's what
thank
I would
you.
say to parents. Yes, you're
The,
welcome.
the thing about being and doing what I do, I can't do it unless I have someone to do it with, and that someone has to show up, and they have to show up not just physically, but they have to show up on the levels that they want to move forward. And then when there, little glitches come along, we just, get the glitches out of the way. So it is a team. Definitely. It's a team. And the biggest thing is, I would have to say it's about you. If there's resistance, yes, it's one thing to persist in the resistance for the person, but they really have to want it. And you have. And that's why it's been incredible. I mean, just mind blowing to have you in my life all these years and to keep working with you. I'm just like just a wow. What a journey, what a story. And it is in my book coming out down the road.
Love it.
Yeah. But because you're a dream client, let's put it that way. You're someone, my clients, I don't want to work with someone that I wouldn't want to literally spend time on an island with. Let's put it that way, right? And it's interesting that we're on an island right now spending time and being able to do this. Is like I said it before, it's such an honor and pleasure. And I want to know now from you, I know where you are now. I mean, I haven't been to Dallas, but I will visit. But I want to know now, what is your vision for where you are now? Part of the vision. Like, just give me a snippet, because I'm finding this so exciting.
Yeah, sure. So, because you've taught me to be present, I'd like to tell you presently I'm in my room in Trinidad, where I grew up in, and we moved into this home at age 17, and here I am at 52 or whatever. So, yeah, it's amazing to look out the window. And
Right?
the reason I'm sharing that, because I know your question and I know what you're asking, but I think there was a choice that I just didn't want to see this view anymore. I didn't want to be here, right? That there's more out there into the world. And so I sit in my room here, which hasn't changed in 30 plus years. Love my mom and dad. And I say to myself, okay, I knew this wasn't going to be for me. So that's where it all started.
Right.
And, as you fast forward it now, you're asking me, where are you today in the vision? So, we've just moved to Dallas. So we're at a great place to live in Roanoke, Texas.
Right.
We're experiencing the first summer of heat, if you will, when we go back. So that's going to be interesting.
Oh.
But for me, it's at career-wise, it's at a beautiful club called Vaquero Club. And the vision for that is to really put my stamp on it and to make it even better than it is.
Right.
Sea Pines Country Club needed a lot of love and attention, and anything I did or touched there, it was a 10x, if you will, factor, because it was better, cleaner, wonderful experience, if you will, for the members. And that club's very strong and financially in a great spot. Well, the club coming into Vaquero is an amazing financial position.
Okay.
It's a great club already. And, so I really have to sit down here over the next couple of weeks and months and chart a course for that club as to what I'm going to do there. On the personal side, because I'm not sure if you're asking personally or professionally.
Well, combination.
Personally,
yeah.
So, personally, we're going to watch Abigail, our second daughter. She's going to finish high school there, and don't know if she's going to decide on a university in Texas. Thunder and lightning in Trinidad. Wow.
I know.
University in Texas. But yeah, but we're going to call Texas for as long as it's supposed to be. Okay. Right? Because it's totally out of my control. I kind of just opened up myself to it, and we're gonna stay in Texas for for as long as we need to be. But as I told the board of the club that I've just recently joined, I said, look, if I like it and you like it and we get along, and there's a win-win and we're both striving towards the common goal, then I'll stay here for as long as I need to. I said, I don't have the ego to go run the biggest club, such as, something in Florida or Desert Mountain where I came from 2 clubs ago. I said, I really want to form relationships with the membership. And I really
Right.
want to have an area that we're going to sit back and enjoy. So the vision, if you will, is something that I'm only on month number 4 or 5. I'm in that absorbing stage of watching it,
Right.
as to what we'll do club wise. But for Abigail and for Ashley, it's a brand new home, and for Kathy as well. God, I haven't mentioned Kathy's name this whole program, but for Kathy as well, because my darling wife has raised the girls as I've gone on this amazing career path journey, if you will. And now it's her time, right? Because both the girls are driving and self-sufficient, and she's going, okay, maybe it's time for me to use my master's degree.
Right.
And I want to go get a job and I want to become who I want to evolve into. And what a great opportunity for her to do that in Dallas. Couldn't do it in Hilton Head. It was too small.
Right.
And, there weren't a whole lot of opportunities. But gosh, I'm so excited for her because I actually think she's going to go on and find her true self now in this chapter of life that we call post raising children. So there you go.
Wow. Wow. Well, this is incredible. I'm going to ask you one more question
Sure.
here before we
Ask
close.
as many as you like.
and that is, overall, right? What fascinates you about this journey you're on?
Well, that's more than a quick snippet answer,
Okay.
right? I mean,
Right.
it is what fascinates me, I would tell you, is that I pinch myself as to what I've been able to achieve. It was gutting. It was heart-wrenching for me not to be able to, quote unquote, be my brother. Well, life wasn't supposed to be that. You're supposed to be
Right.
your own person. But
Exactly.
I
And you
really
are.
thought, yes, and indeed I am. And I really thought I would play professionally, but never did I think that I would be able to parlay this, to go on this journey of self growth and career growth and continuing education and serving. We say it in the hospitality business, right? We love to serve, but please understand, I'm not your servant.
Right.
And so that's a huge part of it. But what I'm really enjoying is the fact that I have the ability to pay it back, right? So what Bob Jones did for me to mentor me, I know I look forward to doing that to other individuals who are in this industry, that if I can mentor them to help them find a path forward, then that's great. Look, I just want to tell people, well, what I think they can do and be their inspiration. And I remind them that it's just a job, but you want to truly find happiness and you really want to find your calling.
Right.
And so I give them books like The 4 Agreements, right? And I said, hey, go read that. And they go, oh, okay. So it's just want to have an impact on people, Colli, is really what I would like to do. And this is what I'm doing today.
Well, which led to my next question, and you somewhat answered it, and that was, what motivates you to continue expanding in your field more and more?
Yeah, so I'm not ashamed to say this, and it may come across not so very well, and who knows, but I really do enjoy having the resources, if you will, that comes in the terms of money to allow me to do certain things. It allows me to achieve my dreams, right? It allows me to take a vacation and come back to Trinidad, or it allows me to go see Europe, with my wife and children last year.
Right.
Those things, come at a price, and so you need that money. And so for me, at this current stage of my life, sounds very shallow, but the money is the great motivator.
Of course, sure. Why not?
And
Yeah.
well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Why not? Because sometimes I say, well, is that what it is? But as I've gotten more comfortable in who I am, I really will tell you, motivating wise, is to watch my children and to expose them to people like yourself.
Hmm.
And to me, that's a huge motivating. And then for those who I work with, because people don't work for me, they work with me.
Right.
I'm just trying to set them on a path and chart a course. And that really gives me great motivation because I feel in a way I'm inspiring them to be more than what they are now. And so that's what, drives me going to work every day.
Okay. Wow. Hey, I mean, that is phenomenal because it comes back to your core values, right? It really does. And in this world that we live in, you cannot not have money or you are in big trouble, right? And so there's nothing wrong with having money because the world is run on it and runs through it. And that's how we live. Food, clothing, shelter, basic necessities. And then with all the sacrifices and all the work and the foundation that you have, committed to yourself, it's deserving. Why not? Right. So just thinking in terms of for you, what new ways of thinking and maybe even adding on different skills or capabilities do you see yourself manifesting in the near future?
Well, presently it's for me to become more than who I am, right? Is how do I develop, right? And
Right.
and so I love it when people recommend, great books to read. You passed on something that was, excuse me, very business centric, even though people won't take it that way. And of course, it's the book called, Who, Not
Mm-hmm.
How.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was huge, right? But for me, I've enjoyed listening to your other fellow Canadian, which is Robin Sharma, and I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy his podcast and listening and talking to him because that gets my juices going and that inspires me
Right.
and that allows me to be who I am. But back to your question, why didn't you tell me one more time so I don't answer it incorrectly?
Yeah, no, there's no
Yeah.
incorrect. There's no incorrect.
Yeah.
It was, what new ways of thinking, right? And possible capabilities and skills do you want to manifest?
So I'm in another chapter of life with my girls now 19 and 17.
Right.
And soon we're going to be empty nesters. And so well, what I want to manifest is to make sure that I've got a great relationship with my darling wife, Kathy,
Mm-hmm.
and a unbelievable relationship with my kids. Okay, I know I can provide them the education, but can I provide them more than a 4-year strict test related education system? I want to be able to provide them opportunities. So I want to manifest that they're going to be with us and that we're going to travel together, that they're going to see the world, and so that they could go thank you. And that's really what I want to do. I'm
Okay.
all right. So it's like I was saying, what I really want to do is to be able to provide for the family, and that's a given. And the girls will be taken care of school wise, education wise. But I really want to travel the world, and I really want to watch them blossom into young adults. I'm not ashamed to say this. I've because of what I've done and the sacrifices, there was a lot of times that I've missed with the girls.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one harsh, punch in the gut. And it wasn't just a light tap, it was a constant barrage of punches. Because, now that I look back on it as they're 19 and 17 years old, I've missed out on a lot of it.
Right.
And so do we have regrets? Sure. And do I wish I could take it and change it? Yes. And it's almost cliched, right? Because we all hear that from people. Don't blink, your life's going to pass you. Your kids are going to grow up. Well, shit, they have grown up.
Right.
But now where I'm at is we as a family unit and with Kathy and I going to be empty nesters in a year. I'd just love to continue to travel with them and be with them and watch them grow up. And they
Right.
say, hey, what about kids? Oh, God, I don't want to have kids. Well, typical response for a 19 to 17-year-old.
Exactly.
But, it's way too young. They got their whole lives in front of them. And my current job opportunity provides me the ability to, really spend more time with them. Whereas when you were developing and and emerging into your career,
Mm-hmm.
you figured that you needed to be there so much and be present. Well, it's funny. I teach a big thing, if you will, with my team, and I say, hey, it's all about work-life harmony. Well, the word harmony is not balance, right? Balance would suggest that it's 50-50. Harmony would suggest that it's a blend of your time, because it will
Right.
never be 50-50 if you're working in the hospitality industry.
No.
However, go home and spend time with your family. Go home and experience that. And if it's one thing I can share, is that that's what I try to teach or instill with my team,
Right.
to have that harmony. So today, just really looking forward as we get settled into Texas. Ashley's going to be home. We haven't seen her for 3 months, and we look forward to planning a summer vacation. She
Mm-hmm.
missed out on this one, and I think we'll all like to travel together. If they'd like to travel with us, and we'll go see a new part of the world. And to
Okay.
me, that's great.
Well, it comes down to the harmony part is about being present. So when you're with them and you're able to be present, that is the gift you give them, is your presence, right? And
Right.
so that's where harmony comes in. And you do that very well. I can attest to that. So yeah, I just know, so it's a given to me that you're going to have a great time with the girls when you're with the girls, because you are present and with your team. So one more question and we'll wrap it up for now,
Sure.
but what I want to do is, before I ask the question, is I want to invite you back, because I want to continue this once you've been where you're going, or you've already been there, but once you've been, there for a while, I want to dig in to find out what's going on in your world. So I'm going to ask you this one more question, and that is, how are you, for you, right? This is about you going to stretch beyond what you have already done to take yourself to new levels in your life and your calling.
Well, that that's an amazing question. I really haven't had, the time to think about, to say what's next, because I am
Mm-hmm.
where I'm supposed to be, right? I am at the
Exactly.
next step. And it's just, like I said, I've been a bachelor for a couple of months, and Kathy just moved out last month, and we got this brand new home that we don't even know where the light switches turn on to. So we're just gonna, I think the word I want to use is just maintain,
Right.
right?
That
The
word.
lifestyle. Yeah. We're gonna
Yeah.
maintain the lifestyle that we have right now, and then wait to see what comes upon it.
Okay.
Uh, it's just gonna learn to become a better dad and a better husband, and make sure that I continue to learn from the mistakes that we've all made. Looking, yeah, I'm just looking to being present. I'm going to use your words right back at you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to stay here in the moment, and it's okay. We've done a lot of moving.
Right.
If you were to follow this story, gosh, we've moved from Jacksonville, Florida, to Jamaica, to Scottsdale, to Hilton Head, twice in Hilton Head, to
Right.
now Dallas. And the thought of moving again, I can see the knives coming out of the drawer, and Kathy running, after me with them,
Yeah.
because she does not want to move again. So look,
Well,
we're gonna
this woman, I mean, in Hilton Head, for people who think, the life is so glorious here and there's no grunt and grind. Yeah, right. Okay. She did a lot of the renovations in the home. And then there was the packing up, and then the attempting to, put the house for sale or rent, and then, the move, and you not being there, and then the move, and then the unpacking. Come on. So, yeah, this is the glamorous life,
yeah, exactly.
you know,
So
and
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and there is that, but you know what I'm getting at here. And I hope my audience is mature enough to understand it. And I know they are, that, it does take sacrifice on both parts. And so now when you come together, you can be, like you say, totally in that presence of each other, and share your presence together.
Yeah.
And the rain is coming down so hard. I think we're going to lose you again. And I don't want to, but I want to say to you before we go, thank you. I love you. I am so honored and so privileged to be part of your and Kathy and the girls' journey. And I can't wait for the moment, which is now, to be the next moment, which will be, and I don't believe in the future, but will be the next moment now. So,
So
and
we
we
look
will,
forward to spending time with you in Texas when you come there, because
oh,
that'll
I'm
be the
coming.
next moment.
I'm
But
coming. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
fantastic.
Wow,
Well,
heavy
thank
rain.
you for
So, my
this.
friend, lots of love on your journey and your travels and your soul's calling. And we will be back to you soon to catch up for sure.
Okay. Thanks
Okay.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Lots of
Take
love.
care.
Bye bye.
Love to you as well. Bye bye.